environmental disasters, mass unemployment, immigration, open borders, bailouts and derivatives, mass media distraction, war. How are these things connected? To find out, join us at the Grassroots Connection, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. on WOIC, 1230 a.m.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. That's how it goes. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
And welcome back to the Grassroots Connection final segment. We're in an interview with Kindra Arnesen, straight out of the Gulf area, and she's telling us from her perspective what she sees going on. And we were just talking about medical care, and we have a few other questions and some in the chat room. Just go ahead and list any questions you have in the chat room, and I'll make sure that they get asked. And I'm looking right now, I see sounds like the doctors are paid off to shut her up. And that comes from Miss Obsidian. So far, that's the only one we've gotten. And let's get back into it with Kindra. Let's see if she's here. Hello,
yes,
Kindra?
I am here.
Good,
Hey.
good.
So, just to get straight to the question, like I said earlier, I don't know. I'm sure that there's probably been some pretty underhanded stuff between BP and some physicians. However, I don't think that the money part of it is to do with all the physicians, as it is history shows us in the Alaskan Valdez oil spill. And I'm not taking up for them because I think what they're doing is wrong. But in the Alaskan Valdez oil spill, the litigation lasted for 18 and a half years, to be exact. And, any expert witness that was a physician and had to treat someone in that situation had to go into court to be a witness every single time there was a court hearing. So it's, and that they would need them in that particular hearing. So it's, it disturbed those physicians' lives for years and years, and that's really not what they got into being a doctor for, was to be in and out of court as it was to take care of people. So I understand on one hand, because I've tried to look at it from both angles, mine and theirs, why they don't want to get involved. Do I agree with it? Heck no.
Right.
Do I find it acceptable? Absolutely not. And that's why the Children's Health Fund from New York City, with this pediatric medical mobile unit that I went to, was honored to go to the ribbon cutting here in Plaquemines Parish this morning in Port Sulphur. We have now, and that's what I was talking about before we went to break, was this particular subject. The medical mobile unit is a pediatric medical mobile unit from the Children's Health Fund out in New York City. And we are going to have a physician on staff who is a pediatrician. He is a specialist. He's an allergist, and he's also an immunologist. So we're very, very excited to have them down. One of the things they do their own fundraising and things, and they wanted to bring something down here that was what we refer to as untainted. And that's kind of the nice way of saying not bought off by BP.
Absolutely.
So, go ahead.
I said absolutely. I understand. We're kind of voyeuristic down here. We've been paying attention to what's going on, and it's hard to tell the truth. And so when you say something that hasn't been tainted by BP, I understand exactly what you mean, I think.
Well, I mean, they lied all the way up to Congress early on. So everything that they've done is to minimize their own liability. Everything that we have seen follow suit on this one. Coast Guard, EPA, OSHA, NOAA, federal government, some state government, not all, and I wouldn't say local government because Billy Nungesser is the man. But I would say on all other levels of government other than our current parish president's office and our current council people here, because they know and love this place and live here and their families live here, they're going to take up for it. But I've seen the collaborated corruption between all other levels of government since this started beyond belief. I was politically asleep before this happened and thought that the government took care of everything, and if we paid our taxes and we lived a good life and we kept insurance on our homes and took care of our children and made them productive members of society and lived the old married life rocking on the porch, that we had done our deed and done our part, and as long as we didn't throw soda cans in the bayou and destroy our own bayou, that we was all right. 5 years ago, we came back here and lived off the sea and rebuilt from dirt. This is a way of life for us. So, no matter what else happened, as long as we were down here, we would be okay. And then this happens, and we expect our government that we pay all this tax money to, and we live in America, and we're free, and we're privileged, and blah, blah, blah. And then we turn around, and we see a catastrophe happen like this, and the federal government sit back and say, oh, we can't touch the old baby. The old baby doesn't belong to us.
Well,
you can go anywhere else. And they can go anywhere else for anything. Let's see, for instance, something recent. Let's give Mexico $2 billion to drill in the Gulf while you put a moratorium on our side of it.
Oh, yeah, I noticed that. That's incredible.
This whole thing. Look at the bigger picture. It's all levels of government. I think that the whole system should be redone because the way it's working now is not working.
It's not working.
And they should all hand in their letter of resignation.
I agree. Now, Kindra, I have a specific question that occurred yesterday when I was, just doing the show. One of the callers called in and mentioned this, and I'm going to paraphrase. I may not have it verbatim, but I'll do my best here. The caller mentioned, he said, this thing in the Gulf was an accident. BP is doing a service to the American people, and if you're buying gas, you got to love BP because they're selling it. So we know that this was an accident, and we know that when accidents occur, administrations tend to try to cover their butts. Look at Bush in Katrina. And, of course, I disagreed with the gentleman, but I wanted to kind of phrase it to you. What do you think of people that have that kind of attitude? The BP is basically doing what we want them to do, whether they had this bill or not, and it's unfair for us to demonize them and just look at the administration. We could blame it on him, but isn't he got to cover his butt? So I'm going to let you answer that one. What do you think of that?
I'll take care of this one. Gladly. Gladly, I'll take care of this one. As far as this fella goes, what he's just done by asking this question and throwing it out there that he's this great BP fan is he's opened up the opportunity for me to explain to our listeners what's really going on and what's really happened here in Blackman's Parish and in our Gulf and the whole 9 yards. What I've seen done is BP put out a gross amount of money to hire all kind of boats from all over the United States and put on this huge $1 million a week, what they're calling PR campaign.
Right.
BP, through bad decisions, an accident is when you stub your toe, or you might back into a pole and create a dent. This is not an accident. Accidents happen because an accident happened. An accident doesn't happen because of bad decisions. This is not mistakes. A mistake is a mistake. A bad decision is, okay, do I go down this road that I know is safe, or do I go down this road that I know could kill everybody in the car?
Right.
That's called making a decision. It's not a mistake. They made bad decisions, which led to a horrible catastrophe, a disaster, an explosion, which might I remind everyone, 11 families lost either a father, brother, nephew, son, uncle, cousin, something off of that rig that night. My brother works in the oil field right out here close to my house. I'm the closest living resident to the Deepwater Horizon. Did you know that? A lot of people don't.
No, I didn't know that.
I am the last idiot on the right, on the stupid peninsula that we're stuck on now in the middle of this crack. So anyway, back to the question. BP spent all kind of money and put out all these boats, and they're doing a service to America. Instead of using these boats, what they did on this cleanup, when they turned around and made all these bad decisions that led to this catastrophe starting, instead of skimming up the oil and picking it up, they would send the boats out called recon. Recon goes out and finds the oil, calls it in, deploys their boom, and starts to clean it up. BP comes back, tells Coast Guard says stand down. Return to safe haven. The boats return to safe haven, and then they come in and they spray it. They had the capability, the opportunity, the time, and the equipment, the assets to clean up their mess. And instead, they chose to stink 90% of the oil. They could have cleaned up at least 50%. That would have been 40% more of oil out of the Gulf. These people who think this way, hats off to you. I'm glad that you can turn your head. We're standing on the same planet, whether I'm in Venice, Louisiana, someone's in Germany, New York, wherever this poor fellow with this shitty disposition is. But I'm standing in Louisiana. We're all on the same planet. If we continue to destroy it over and over again, destroy, and allow large companies, they could have cleaned this up. They had the money. They had the assets. They spent the money. But instead of cleaning it up, they sunk it to minimize their long-term liability. Well, in the process, they destroyed an ecosystem. This stuff isn't gone. The Gulf didn't eat it. Everything they said was lies. Everything that they've done is lies. How are they an honorable company, and how can we say, now, can they redeem themselves? That's the next question. Can BP redeem themselves from this? On a personal level, with the relationship that I have, the personal relationship, you know how someone goes in a backyard and they hike in the mountains and they say, I have a personal relationship with those woods.
Right.
I've been in those woods so long. I go hunting. Well, I'm a fisherman's wife, so I fished all my life as a child and as an adult. I've been on boats. My first job was cooning oysters. I've done everything there is to do. So I have a relationship with the Gulf and the Marsh. So personally, can they ever redeem themselves in my eyes? Maybe financially, but morally? Environmentally, absolutely not. This is something that will never be forgiven, never be forgotten. Can it be cleaned up, and can they do a better job in the future? That's where people like this are screwing up so bad, because it's not, how do we feel about this particular company? How do we feel about not if, but when this is going to happen again? Because as long as we use oil, this will happen again. Whatever kind of chemical, this will happen again. So the question is, now we see what happened this time. Not can BP redeem themselves, and how do we feel about BP? Because BP as a company is only going to do what our federal government allows them to do. Therefore, our federal government has some type of responsibility to come up with a contingency plan with a proper federal response to make sure that a company like BP, who is environmentally unfriendly, I say environmentally unfriendly, that's like an understatement by a million head.
Yeah.
However, environmentally unfriendly, we need our federal government to make sure that these types of companies are not allowed to head up the biggest chemical disaster in our nation's history.
Absolutely.
But not even the smallest chemical disaster in our nation's history. I don't care if it's 2 million gallons or if it's 1 million gallons or if it's 10,000 gallons. Every response should be handled the same way. It should have real federal oversight, not this sad excuse that it had. Every single entity that was involved in running this response should be ashamed of themselves, all the way from BP to, like I said earlier, all levels of government, all of them. They should be ashamed of themselves. The only ones that I got any pride for right now are our local government here in Plaquemines Parish, Terrebonne Parish, St. Bernard Parish, so on and so forth here in the lower line areas of Louisiana, because even the forms of government that I've seen in other states trying to handle this Gulf oil disaster are a sad excuse for human beings.
Kendra, where the show is over, I think you've answered that question fairly well. So hopefully we'll be able to get you back in soon, and things will get better in the Gulf. Maybe some pressure being applied through radio will cause that to happen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
No problem. And we'll get
I'll
this.
talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you soon. We'll get this